Taylor. So the other day you missed a day at work here. Taylor does reception for us at the office. Tell us what happened.
Okay, so I'd been on my way home from work, my usual route, and we were in stop and go traffic, and I hear a loud bang. I look back, didn't see anything out of the ordinary. I hear another bang. Before I knew it, there was a car that was behind me, hit into me, and I was pushed forward. Luckily, I didn't hit the guy in front of me, but I, at that point, started feeling a little bit of pain between my neck and my shoulder.
So you got into a car accident?
Yeah, so I was in a car accident, a little fender bender of sorts, yeah.
And you had to take the day off of work?
I did, yeah. Definitely recommended by the doctors that I'd seen because I had gone to the emergency room because that's always the best thing you could do in a situation like that. I then came back to work and I had asked for your advice on what I should do in regards to treatment-wise, as, you know, these things can be very serious.
Just in a minute. So you got into a car accident. Mm-hmm. Was it your fault?
No, not in the slightest. Zero liability.
So they hit you, they rear-ended you?
Yes.
And I think you told me it was like 3-car pileup?
Yeah, so I was the lead car in all of that, so I got lucky in all of it.
How hard were you hit?
Hard enough to need a new back bumper, so pretty decently, yeah.
And then
Were you stopped at the light?
I was stopped at the light. Luckily, the light had just turned green and the guy in front of me moved up, so I guess that created a little bit more space, so I didn't end up hitting him. So
you say, so maybe you think you got hit at like 20 miles an hour?
It had to be probably more than that. The guy
40?
The guy who had hit us totaled his car, his airbags deployed and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were in motion when you got hit?
I was fully, completely stopped, but they had hit me so hard they pushed me about a foot or so forward. So, and I have good brakes, so that could really show you the force behind that back car.
And anyone driving an SUV?
No, it was a very small Toyota in the back, a simple Impala in the middle, and then my sports car in the front. So just very small cars did a lot of damage overall. The girl between us that got sandwiched, the whole front end and back end of her car was destroyed. So.
All right, so take us to the next step. So from the scene of the accident, what happened then?
Police were called. I made sure that he noted in his file that I was injured on site. I was very lucky that I didn't have to go via ambulance, as I feel that I wasn't that injured at the time, but I did want to take precautionary measures in getting the right help that I needed. So I had my fiance take me to the emergency room from there after all the paperwork was said and done.
So you had a minute to be in the car with your fiance, driving to the hospital.
Yes.
Now, what were you experiencing? Any pain?
Yeah.
Were you dizzy?
As soon as I had gotten out of the car, after initially hitting parked into a safe spot, I immediately started feeling just this stiffness between my shoulder and my neck. And at that point, I kind of knew it was a little bit of trouble, because if I'm feeling this experience level, that level of pain this early on, this could lead to a later issue. So I immediately, my motherly instincts kicked in to make sure everyone else was okay. Unfortunately, someone really wasn't. But for me at the time, I really was, I guess, more adrenaline rushed at the moment. So I didn't feel, as much pain as I did until the following day or so.
Okay, that's interesting. Mm-hmm. So you were at the hospital for how many hours?
4 hours, three of which were in the waiting room. But luckily after I was triaged and seen and everything, they had decided to send me home. They didn't do any initial CAT scans, MRIs, or X-rays, although I did advocate for them, as you never know. You want to make sure you're on the safe side of that.
But what you're saying is that the majority of the pain came on the next day.
Yeah, I would say I felt pain.
So you woke up, and what happened?
I felt just immediately very stiff, like I had worked out a little too hard or something, because I really can't.
Soreness.
Yeah, very sore, very stiff. The following day after that, I was even feeling like a spasm in the middle of my back, which is very unusual for me, because I never really have mid-back problems, but I believe it was because of my posture while in the accident that could have caused that, as I was arm leaned up like this, and I think everything had shifted back and kind of done some kind of effect to my spine in that sense.
I see. Mm-hmm. So, and then were you taking any pain medicine?
So I did. I did have some leftover Percocet that I've used for surgery, was prescribed. I did take it for the pain because I unfortunately can't take any NSAIDs due to a previous surgery I've had.
Okay.
So I took the Percocet. It did alleviate some of the pain later on. After that had worn off, I took a muscle relaxer that they prescribed me at the hospital. somewhat relief, but not as, it more relieved the spasms than it did more the stiffness. I found that working the muscle and using a hot cold method on the area per se was really helpful. Then when I came back to work, I had spoken to you, and we felt that the better treatment plan may be going in the direction of acupuncture.
What level of pain were you having, though, from 1 to 10? 10 being awful, all you can think about, to 1 being, I kind of feel it. Where were you?
I would say I was about a 5, at most a 6.
Which is pretty significant, by the way. It's a very high level of pain, 5 or 6. That's not minimal.
After working it out a little bit and, taking some medicine and relaxing and not, doing anything crazy or strenuous, I started to feel about a 3 or 4. It was very dull pain, and then when I had woken up the next day, obviously not on any medicine, I started feeling a sharp pain, and I was back at about 5.
Okay. And so where are you today, though?
Today, I'm about a 3. I took some Tylenol extra strength. It kind of helps me get through the day.
Nice.
Obviously, I don't want to take anything that's going to impair my judgment or ability to drive, as I am at work. So I wanted to make sure I was on my toes in that sense. But I can see that the Tylenol is wearing off, and I could feel it as I'm walking around and starting to do my nightly tasks.
Deep pain?
Yeah, I kind of start noticing I'm kind of pushing my shoulders back to kind of stretch myself out a little bit. Kind of I can hear almost my bones moving around a little bit in there. So I definitely feel like I need to either take another.
But you're coping well.
Yeah, definitely. I think I could be worse off, so I did count my blessings on this one.
So the main reason why I wanted to bring you on the show today was because we wanted to talk a little bit about whiplash.
Okay, yes,
right?
Which I did experience.
And whiplash can present in a lot of different ways. Stiffness, aching in the neck, side movement, rotation, looking up, looking down, even down to the shoulder blades, which you're experiencing, right?
Yes.
And the majority of people don't know that. They don't feel it right away a lot of times. For you, it was the next day. Other people, it could be as much as 10 days until they start having the full pain of the whiplash. And I know that you and I discussed that it's very important to get treatment early on to start to keep that whiplash process from continuing even after the crash.
Yes. I'm definitely going to be looking forward to my treatment plan, as I know how important it is to really just kind of tackle things head on, especially when it comes to your health. It's super important. I think the more you delay it, the more you're just going to struggle and you're going to stress. And when you're physically in pain, you start to suffer in other ways, mentally, emotionally, and nobody really should have that.
Jade, have you been in any car accidents?
Of course. Who hasn't, right?
Welcome to Long Island.
No, I could relate because I was the middle car in an accident like that. And it was interesting because you get that immediate adrenaline rush, so you don't feel the pain right away. But then the next day, forget it. I was like a board. You're walking like stiff as a board, and it's difficult because you don't. There's no movement you can do, or stretching, or relaxing, or you almost think medication is the only option. But it's similar to you. Acupuncture did help me a lot in that situation. So good result for me.
How early did you start getting treatment after your car accident?
Within the week. It wasn't like the next day. It was like a few days later.
Now, here's the big difference. So a week is still a good amount of time because with busy schedules, work gets in the way. Oftentimes, we may not feel as bad yet, or we might question, who do I go? Who can see me?
Yeah.
Or can I get in today? Sometimes you can't.
Yeah.
Fortunately, Taylor, she works at our facility here where we do acupuncture, cupping, and massage therapy. And she was able to start the next day as soon as she came to work.
Yeah.
And because I have such a background in treating motor vehicle accidents, we take no fault insurance. So we see a lot of car accidents here. The whiplash is so important to me because I know, the claim adjuster, the insurance company talk to you right after the accident when you're full of adrenaline.
And you don't feel the pain at that point.
Stuff hurts. You're not sure what it is.
Yeah.
You're still kind of woozy from the accident, the impact. And they're like, okay, where's the hurt right now? We got to write this down and document it. And if you don't do it correctly, sometimes they're like, well, you didn't say that when we talked to you. And I know it's so important because 10 days later, you can be like, now I have burning pain and now everything hurts. And now my hips hurt. And now I realize the hand that hit the steering wheel, that starts to hurt now too. And then you go back and try and change your paperwork. And sometimes it's very difficult. The migraine, like you just said, migraines can start kicking in. And now, as you're trying to get treatment, later on, they're like, well, you didn't say migraines. Maybe that is from something else.
Exactly, yeah.
And so I'm just a very strong advocate of as soon as you, get into a car accident, go to the hospital, get all your scans, it's okay to tell them you're unsure of what happened, or, if you have pain anywhere, just list off all the regions and start treatment right away, because that stiffness and that whiplash can start settling into the body. You can start it feeling in other places of your body than you originally didn't think it would be. It starts in your neck and then it winds up almost down to your lower back or sciatica. That relates to it.
Yeah.
And you're wondering what's happening. But Taylor was very fortunate to come in to work, and I said, no, we got to start treatment today.
Yeah.
And what's really nice about acupuncture, some people are afraid of needles. For the whiplash treatment, car accident treatment, trauma treatments in general are the lightest treatments you can get. They're so light, they're so gentle. We're more focused on the patient being comfortable lying down in whatever position they can be. Some people can't lay face down because of the accident, face up, aside. Worst case scenario, they could sit up and kind of lean forward a little bit. But, in each room we have about 8 or 9 pillows.
Yeah.
And we can get you comfortable in a nice position so you can rest with just very light points in there. And it really starts to loosen up those areas. And then, Taylor, we were just talking before today that, so after your acu-treatment, your first one, it was gentle. We did about 30, 40 minutes for you. How did you feel with that experience?
That was my first acupuncture treatment I've ever gotten. And I don't have a fear of needles, as I have piercings and tattoos, but I do have a fear of syringe kind of needles. So I was a little nervous. I definitely felt some anxiety, and I felt that was adding to my tension, but I just had to take a couple deep breaths in, and it really wasn't as bad as I was expecting. It really was very simple and light, and you don't even feel it. Like you had said, the tubes have more impact on your skin than the needles itself. It's the best way to compare it to anybody that's ever gotten a piercing is the clamp hurts worse than the needle,
That's right.
And to be honest, it definitely, I felt, helped me, not only knowing that I was actually possibly getting relief from this, in a mental state, but it also helped me physically, knowing that this was going to help me, because the power of mind is a powerful thing. And if you believe in something, it's more going to help you heal than anything else. So I definitely am believing in this treatment, and I really hope it does do me a lot of success, because I want to make sure I'm not hurting for the future, because I'm only 26. I don't want to live a life hunched over because of some simple little fender bender, because I didn't treat it right.
And then we talked about your treatment plan, and I said, we need frequent, gentle treatments rather than a few aggressive treatments.
Right.
That's for more sports injuries and things like that, where you can do pretty strong work in an area. For you, so I said, you should consider 2 to 3 times a week for the first maybe 2 weeks, just to make sure that whiplash doesn't keep traveling to other places. And so we did one treatment for you, and like you were saying, the tube, many people don't know what the acupuncture tube is. It's just a little plastic guide tube where the needle slips inside to help tap into the area. It's just a plastic tube. It's a little bit pokey, like a plastic fork.
Yeah.
It's not sharp, it doesn't hurt, but it's the tube itself is just a plastic poke kind of feeling, and you don't really even feel the needle. All you do is kind of hear maybe a slight tap, and you're like, oh, that was nothing. Was that kind of your experience?
I could absolutely agree with that comparison. It was very light and simple in that sense. I think I had more anxiety about the idea of needles, that I was unsure about how they were going to feel. You get a vaccine, you know how it's going to feel. You've had a vaccine before, or at least most people have. Your first time, it's always scary for your first time for, I feel like, anything. But this was definitely a great experience. I went home kind of like shining. I was like, this is so awesome. I really hope this helps me. I was over the moon. My fiance told me I couldn't shut up about it.
Oh God! He's like, all right.
I called my mom. I was so excited. I do feel that the family here, because I don't even want to call it, just a workspace. The family here really is great in making sure that I felt better, not only just on a mental level of checking in with me and making sure everything was okay, but on a physical level and helping me out with this treatment and making sure that I can get the right care, because as we know, painkillers are not the option. And I would hate to have to ever go down that route. And I fear that a lot of people go down that route, and I really
think it's the only option.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of education out there, so I hope this helps and inspires people to, look down this path for themselves.
And thank you for sharing your story.
Awesome.
We really wanted to emphasize that whiplash is very serious. You can get a delayed response with migraines, headaches, lower back pain, sciatica as it travels through the body. You gotta cut it off as soon as you get injured. In New York State specifically, it's covered automatically. Even if your primary insurance doesn't cover it, you can start going to acupuncture, medical massage therapy, physical therapy, chiropractic, your primary doctor. You really need to get looked at from trauma, And this pain can really turn into much more severe problems that can last for months or even years. And that acupuncture is a fantastic therapy that can really cut this off, and you can get back to your life.
Yeah. And I just wanted to add,
Mm-hmm.
commonly people don't think about it, but when you're in an accident and you get, that rear end, the seatbelt locks on you, right? So then you get impinged to the seat. And sometimes there's not just a whiplash, but there's the shoulder pain and hip pain that goes along with a lot of accidents. So that's something that it can be addressed, and it should be addressed and not overlooked. And just keep that in mind, when you are reporting to your agency or reporting to your doctor, let them know. There's more than, try to assess your body completely and just listen to your body and see what's going on so that you can really address any issue that may come up so that you're getting the best treatment overall, Yeah.
Awesome. Leave any questions or comments down below. Any feedback, any information, any experience that you've had, share with us. You can always message us, text us, call, PM, anything like that. Join us on our next series to follow up with Taylor and how she's doing.